This is a Professor, CBMD PhD, and today's Tuesday, August 5th, 2025. It is 5:53 and 49 seconds, p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and today's research, UFO flap. So let's hop to it here. When the Soviet Union launched the first Earth satellite October 4th, 1957, Americans suddenly became space and sky conscious. Amateur astronomers and average citizens strained for a glimpse of a barely visible spear. However, there was no particular increase of UFO reports. The whole month of October produced no more than 4 to 5 substantial UFO cases in the United States. One of the most intriguing accounts, never fully investigated, described a whitish oval-shaped object observed in the vicinity of Cape Canaveral on the nights of October 6th and 7th. Immediately following the launching of the dog-carrying Sputnik 2, late on the evening of November 2nd, Eastern Standard Time, the country was suddenly inundated with UFO reports. The sightings actually began before the word of the satellite launching was flashed to the Western world. Most of the significant reports concerned very large, usually elliptical objects observed on or near the ground, not merely fleeting lights in the sky. The possibility that hysteria played a part in the reports which followed cannot be ruled out entirely, but clearly it is not the whole answer. Reliable witnesses somberly described plainly observed UFOs, and the press gave their stories very full coverage. Before the sightings began to taper off 2 weeks later, eager citizens began to introduce many erroneous reports. After elliptical UFOs were reported daily in the press for a week, people began to scan the sky, hoping to see one for themselves. The planet Venus glowing prominently in the early evening sky to the west-southwest was often reported as a UFO by inexperienced sky observers. To complicate matters, there was a spectacular auroral display in the evening of November 6, which was also visible unusually far south. The flashing red auroral lights in some cases were transformed into UFOs. An occasional fireball, exceptionally bright and long-lasting meteor, flashed through the skies, adding to the confusion. The features of the UFO reports which defied explanation were the consistent descriptions of red to reddish-orange egg-shaped, roughly elliptical objects on or near the ground, and electrical failures experienced in their vicinity. For the month of November, NICAP has records of 118 apparently reliable sightings. In approximately 1 of every 3 cases, electromagnetic interference was reported. Subsequent research showed that electromagnetic effects associated with UFOs were not uncommon. By November 3rd, newspapers were full of UFO reports. By November 5th, the reports were given banner headlines. Also on the 5th, the Air Force issued a special press release to the effect that no evidence of UFOs had been found, and all except 2% of the reports had been explained. The release did not even mention the sightings then in progress. A second press release November 15, after which the reports virtually died out, listed and debunked 5 specific cases which had been widely publicized. An Air Force press release nearly a year later, number 98658, listed 414 sightings for November 1957. About 64%, 266, were explained as stars and planets, aircraft and balloons. The Air Force gave no weight to reports of electromagnetic interference, later stating the number of cases involving car stallings is negligible. This procedure makes it a foregone conclusion that only a comparatively small percentage of total reports might remain which would be difficult to fit into a known category. NICAP considers it a more meaningful approach to first weed out fairly obvious reports of meteors, etc., than to study the remainder of more substantial reports as a group. The percentage of mistaken observations is considered irrelevant. This video was created for educational purposes only. Codename Will. Professor Christopher Brunet, leader of research, scientist, ufologist, psychic, computer programmer, computer technician, philanthropist, writer, mathematician, artist, photographer, film producer, chef, animal, and nature lover. Passion, world peace. Hope you enjoyed listening. Until next time, have an excellent day.